This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen, and we're here giving you gaming news. Second time's the charm, I think, at this point. Hopefully we won't have to go for a third, fix some audio issues. But if you're watching us live, thank you for bearing with us on that. Got some backwards compatible games. I think we're hitting the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Tom Clancy games. We got Tom Clancy's End War, and we've got Tom Clancy's Hawks.
Never heard of either of these games.
Nope. Never heard of them. The only games that I remember playing when it came to Tom Clancy stuff was, Splinter Cell. But other than that, this guy's come out with multiple books and video games after his death, which I think is always weird. It's like the Tupac of
Yeah, I remember buying my dad a book like 2 years ago. I bought and like it still had just Tom Clancy, not the ghostwriter's name, obviously. And I was like, can a like, is there some kind of legal thing where you can keep using the dude's name and saying like he represents this product after you are dead?
Well, I think it probably falls under the same thing when it comes to autobiographies.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost all autobiographies that you read nowadays are written by somebody else.
Sure.
And they have a extended interview or a session of interviews where they take tons of notes and then they write as if they were whatever celebrity it is.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would never be finished and be unintelligible. I mean, if you're like, imagine trying to read something from like Snooki from Jersey Shore or whatever.
And half the time it still is. But I will say that if Tom Clancy's Hawks is not a skateboarding Tom Clancy game, then I will be disappointed.
That's the team up that we always wanted. We want a skateboard on top of the jet fighters. I think that'd be awesome.
I think Fortnite could pull that off.
Fortnite could pull that off. Yeah, that's true. We already got Black Friday deals coming out, which I mean, I'm happy about. There are some games that I'm thinking about picking up. Call of Duty is on sale for like $45 at most retailers. Assassin's Creed's around that. There's a bunch, and there's some bundles that are coming out too. So this is the time if you don't have a console. They've got some really good. There's also a deal for like $450 for an Xbox One X, and you get $125 in Kohl's cash back.
Good deal.
Yeah, so it's already,
that hardware is so good.
Yeah, it's $100 off, and then they give you $125 worth of store credit afterwards.
The other one that I saw that was really good was, I think there's a PS4 Slim that comes with Spider-Man for $199. That is also a sick price.
Totally, just an amazing price for that. Like we talked about, that's the console. If you're gonna get a console this holiday season, I'd probably be picking up that if you're worried about budget. The PS4 Slim has got so many great titles on it. It plays so well, and for $200 and having probably the best game, best exclusive game.
There we go.
This year.
And then even then, people with God of War might fight you on that one. But I preferred Spider-Man personally.
Oh yeah, did that come out? That came out this year.
God of War was this year too. It was April, man.
That's true. God of War was a really good game. It was a really good game. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, either way. So if you get that, it's $200, and then throw another $45 at it, and you probably get God of War, because God of War is going to be on sale on this. Everything's going to be on sale.
Either way, if you want electronics, Black Friday is your day to do.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I did pick up my laptop early because I figured what I'm looking at when it came to laptops wasn't going to be on sale, like the higher end, not high end, but
what'd you want?
Laptop. I got a Dell G7.
Okay. Which
is pretty rocking. It's upgraded, so it's got 16 gig of RAM, 128 solid state, and then a terabyte additional drive. So
you can use a solid state for your operating system, right?
Yeah, solid state's the operating system, and I've got and I'm running. I'm actually running games off of the other drive because I want to use my solid state if I'm doing rendering and stuff.
Yeah, no, I have the same thing. I have a 128 that has Windows 10 on it, and then I have a 1 gig hard drive that has everything else.
Terabyte, you mean?
What did I say? 1 gig.
Gig.
Yep, I went back to 1992.
Man, I remember, I was say a gig back in 92 would have been expensive. I remember when I like first got my gig, I think it was in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I have so much room for everything.
Buy that in a flash drive for like $10.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. Speaking of things that we figured out back in the 90s, Fallout 76 is apparently hackable.
Yeah. And they said that, so they said they're aware of the problem, but they won't confirm. They didn't confirm with IGN what the actual problem was. This came from like a giant Reddit post where this guy claimed, here's a whole bunch of stuff they did, and he said like you can write your own file, and when you're logging onto the internet, it doesn't read that file. And Bethesda didn't completely deny it. He said that he exaggerated a bit, but the craziest part that came out of this is that they said that they're planning to allow mods in Fallout 76. Does that mean private servers?
So I don't. From my understanding, I didn't think they had private servers. But
I thought that's what we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Maybe we did.
That there wasn't going.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Sorry. Yes, you're correct. We talked about there weren't going to be private servers. If you're gonna allow mods in an online game like this, I think there's only one answer to do it. Is if it logs you online and it shows that you have a modded, you're modding it in whatever fashion, put you on a separate server with other people who are modding.
Sure.
That's it. Because then you're not breaking anything for anybody else that they couldn't do themselves. But the people who don't know how to do it, what?
Is the game PvP?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, quasi PvP, but it's PvP enough. I mean, we're talking about. You can kill and anybody in the game, just like any Fallout game, like any NPC, any player, you can attack and kill. There's no way to turn that off either. So it's not PvP is not the mission, not the idea, but it's something you could do. I mean, if you mod your equipment or damage radius or whatever you're doing, then yeah, you could get an edge gameplay wise, or you could just get tons of money, and it's just not equal. And to me, that's throwing it off when it comes to casual players, and not just console players, but just PC players who just want to boot up the game and run, and just play it on their PC.
I did not understand this game. I will take back a little bit of heat that I gave it a couple weeks ago, because I have been watching some people play it on Twitch, and they're enjoying themselves. But it's basically like they're enjoying themselves as like a single player person. Like, unless you have a buddy of yours, it doesn't really seem like there's a whole lot of partying up between like perfect strangers. It's a game where it's like, hey, do you want to play more Fallout 4? Well, here you go. And so there's going to be definitely that hardcore fan base that we talked about. But outside of that hardcore fan base, I continue not to understand how this game is going to succeed.
I don't think it's going to succeed. I don't think it can succeed in the way that they want it to succeed. There was a joke. There was a quasi joke that someone was talking about in an interview with the Fallout, because the Fallout developers, they did ask them about like how long you keep on the servers, and they're like, yeah, we don't, we're planning for the long term. But someone's joke in there was, you see how long we've been milking Skyrim, then you know how long these servers are going to be on. I mean, I just don't see long term. I don't see this being something that people are going to gravitate towards, because I feel like those players can play other games and get what they want out of this in a better way. Like, I'd rather play Fallout 4, I would rather play Fallout New Vegas than play an online version where I could get, shot by a player who plays more than me, who has more of an edge than me because of the amount of time and money that they've spent on the game. That's the other thing. Microtransactions? I haven't seen anything on that yet.
I haven't either. I don't think so. I mean, I don't doubt that they might be. I feel like it's going to be a thing where, just like a lot of their games, even their one-player games, where like after a year or so and you get the quote-unquote Game of the Year edition, there's not going to be a Game of the Year Fallout 76, but when you get the Game of the Year edition where like it's been patched really well and everything's smooth, I think it'll probably be, a fun online Bethesda experience. It's just,
I agree.
And I can see them putting microtransactions in later for skins and stuff. Who doesn't like skins?
I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm fine with that. I paid for horse armor, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with skins. Like you're giving players the choice for that. I think that's fine. Again, it's a way to add microtransactions where you're not breaking the bank. So I think it's fine. I just think it's funny. Yeah, I just think it's funny that Diablo 2. They figured this out with the first Diablo or the second Diablo. No, sorry, the first Diablo, you saved your character on your hard drive. The second Diablo, they were like, nope, we're storing that on the cloud. We're not going to let you modify your files. And now we're sitting here 15 years later, and sorry, not 15 years, geez, 19 years later, and they're still doing the same thing. So.
And you remember Stones of Jordan? That was the day. The SOJs from Diablo 2?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, yeah, it's good stuff. We'll talk about Diablo later, though. We'll talk about that in the main topic. Don't worry. We got some new NES stuff for the Nintendo Online, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Twin Bee, Mighty Bomb Jack, and Metroid.
Metroid, cool.
And Metroid's the only one that I'm like, that's exciting. I have not heard of Mighty Bomb Jack.
No.
It doesn't look very good. And yeah, I probably won't play it. There's a lot of games on the Switch online that I don't have any intention to ever play.
I want Super Nintendo games, Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Give them to me.
I want to be able to buy them a la carte. I mean,
I want that too, but I it was only like $20, so I paid for that already, like the year subscription. And I'll probably, unless they just jack up the price to $60, because I don't play Nintendo games online, I'll probably continue to give them my money, just because you never know. Maybe I will want to play a game online. I like the idea behind these NES games. I just want Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I would love Super Nintendo games. The mod community has been playing, obviously, Super Nintendo games. That's not a problem. But they've been playing Wii U games on it. Sorry, GameCube games, not Wii U. GameCube games.
On the Switch?
On the Switch.
Nice.
Yeah, so the mod community's already ahead of it. So it can be done. And if they're doing it, then Nintendo should be able to do it. It shouldn't be a big issue at that point.
Well, especially now that they have the Smash controller, like that driver is probably built into the software, because I've seen everybody picking up their Smash controllers this last week.
Yeah, that's right. I would say I actually pre-ordered Smash.
Heck yeah.
Because Smash is fun. Single player looks like it's going to be interesting enough for me to play and enjoy a little bit.
Let's go Kirby.
And it's going to what?
Said let's go Kirby. Surviving I think that it's a little interesting there where Kirby's like that indestructible, that he survives that. I'm wondering if somebody's theory that somebody mentioned it, where like whatever character you pick, that's the character that survives, or if it literally is making you start as Kirby.
I would like it to pick your character, but at the same time, I think that we've moved away from something that made single player fighter campaigns interesting, which is where it kind of forced you to play different characters and forced you to play out of your comfort zone, because otherwise you could just pick a character and be really good at them, and then as soon as you try another character, like, it basically pigeonholes you into a style. And I think it'd be really cool if you can play as different characters and learn, kind of get the basics of them. Yeah, I think it'd be encouraging.
Probably as you so if you start with Kirby and then you save Toon Link, and then you get to play Toon Link for a stage, and then you save the princess and
Pikachu, whatever. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could do it. It could be good. We also got some interesting stuff about Zelda. Nintendo's hiring for new Zelda, which I think this is not a news. It's either a new game, which is early development, or it's about the DLC, which the Nintendo president has been talking about wanting more DLC anyways. So
obviously, me, I'll be down absolutely either way. I bought the Breath of the Wild DLC. It wasn't about to get to DLC or anything, but what I find super interesting about this is that Nintendo is not really known for DLC at all. It's not a thing that they ship complete packages. Every once in a while, some of their games might have like a character that they had, like Mario Tennis Aces had, where there was 2 characters that came along. I wouldn't be surprised if Smash has something similar. He's saying, I want real DLC. I want extra story or levels or whatever. And if they're willing to add more moons and more stages to Mario Odyssey, if they're willing to add some more shrines to Breath of the Wild, yes, please, and take my money.
Yeah, I would totally do that. I would pay for more shrines. I would prefer, and to me, it's at this point, it's like it's almost too much of an afterthought to do it. But maybe the next Zelda game will have your area, your basic area, and then an additional area, additional like islands or whatever the heck it is, for the DLC. Because I think Breath of the Wild, they've kind of wrote themselves into a they didn't plan to have an additional like area, an additional plateau, an additional island structure, whatever it was. So I feel like if they added it now, it'd be really apparent that it was an afterthought. But I'd like to see that in future releases, where it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be overt, like not like a gate that you go to and the guards say, you know, you can't go through here, but like, you know, maybe there's like some area that you can kind of see off in the distance, and then if you get the DLC, you got like an airship that goes there or something. I don't know, it'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm completely down. Whatever they want to do, and I know some people like that have like cried for like, I want dungeons in Breath of the Wild. I'm like, no, I get your point. They might put them in the next game, but Breath of the Wild is what it is. Let's not
like what they
ruin
did with
a 10.
that, though.
Let's not
Like,
ruin a 10.
If you give me a dungeon, I want more dungeons like I got with Breath of the Wild, which were the beasts.
Yeah.
Like, I like those, but I feel like they took the two ideas of the puzzles, of dungeons, and split it, where they're like, let's have puzzle dungeons, and then we'll have the story-based combat dungeons. And I feel like that's what they did with, for the most part, with Breath of the Wild. The shrines are very puzzle-based, and like, ooh, look, I figured something out, and but the beasts kind of had that as well, because you had to kind of figure out how to get to everything. So
I think that they could do some more in terms of their bosses and so on. But anybody who's calling for dungeon DLC for Breath of the Wild, cut it out. If you want that in the next game, I completely understand.
yeah,
But Breath of the Wild is what it is. Let's let it be.
It doesn't need dungeons. It's kind of cool that it didn't have them.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So.
Stop messing with my game.
Yeah. So speaking of DLC and messing with games, skip a little ahead a little bit, but Final Fantasy VII. Sorry, not Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy 15's DLC's been canceled, and
Tabata left.
Yeah, okay. Now, did I get this right? 75% was left to go.
That's.
Like
I was really confused by this because they've put a lot of DLC out already, and if from what I know of the DLC, personally, I've only played one of them. But for people that I know that are big fans and really enjoyed it, it actually did a lot to complete the story that Final Fantasy left blank. But the fact that they say that they're 75% not getting released, I'm like, what else did you have to tell after Arden's story?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand at this point. Like they I feel like they were trying to milk this so much, because the engine is beautiful, I'll admit that.
Yeah.
But like I feel like they, at that point, they were just doing it to make more money and to continue with the same assets to try to make more and more money, which I think is stupid.
I don't necessarily know if they were trying to make it more money. I mean, obviously that's what their goal always is, but I think that when you look at how long it took them to come out, I think it was a thing of more like, hey, we had this game, there's a whole bunch of stuff we didn't get to because we had to launch the game. Here's all the stuff that we weren't allowed to get to because they told us you can't wait any longer to put this damn game out.
I agree.
It's how I feel about it. I felt like a lot of this stuff would have been included in there from the beginning if they had given them another 2 or 3 more years, but they were like, no, you have to release the damn game.
It'd been in development for 12 years at that point.
Kind of, yeah. It was. I mean, Final Fantasy 15 was technically in development for 5, but yeah, the whole long storied past.
It came from Versus 13.
Yeah.
And Versus 13 was being made just at around the same time as 13. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just took forever, but I still wish that I'd Versus like when I remember explaining that to Whitney, like the idea, I was like, hey, it's a Final Fantasy game. She's like, I don't care. She doesn't like time. She prefers action, like Kingdom Hearts stuff. And I told her it's the Kingdom Hearts team, and they're making a Final Fantasy game, and she just lost it. She was like, I can't wait. And now, and she was like, it's okay. Like, she didn't like the finished product. I feel like I should go back now, because I played when it first launched, and 13? I thought it was okay.
Or 15?
No, 15. I played 15 when it first came out, and I was like, oh, this is okay. And I haven't played
platinumed
since. Yeah, so I may go back and try it, but then again, I've got hardly any time to do that now. So.
I got the platinum for it, and then I took it out of my PlayStation, and I said, hey, this was fun. I wish that you'd given me more. I put 75 hours into getting the platinum, and I'll probably never go back and touch it again. But the thing that's crazy to me about all of this, one, Tabata leaving, that's huge. We're talking about, if you guys don't know who Tabata is, he directed one of the greatest Final Fantasy games of all time in Crisis Core. One of just something that I still don't understand how that is on PlayStation. But I don't understand what Square is doing with my second favorite brand in the world. Because there's another story that I didn't include as that part of this, but also this week they mentioned how they would like to remake other Final Fantasy games a la the Final Fantasy VII treatment, and I'm like, but you haven't even brought up Final Fantasy VII yet.
Yeah, they also talked about what was it, Final Fantasy. They're talking like tactics and some other things. But yeah, you're right. 7's not out yet. Put 7 out first, then let's talk about it. I did hear other people like clamoring as soon as they saw that. They were clamoring for whatever their favorite. Fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Whatever your favorite one is. Saw people clamoring for 8 to be remade.
I'm down.
6. Yeah, I know you are. 8, 6. Some people for 10 and 10-2, like as a combined thing. Like whatever their favorite was.
Sure.
And to me, it's like, okay, but. Like, which one is going to make the most money? Let's just be honest. Everyone has their favorites, but which one is going to make the most money for Square? It's
9
7.
or 6. I mean, after 7, yeah.
After 7, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. After 7, 9 and 6. Yes, you're exactly right. But I think 10 maybe, but 6 I'd say is probably the next one up. But I'm like, don't put the cart before the horse at this point. Like, we don't even know what they're doing with 7. Like.
And everybody who knows me, I have a Shinra tattoo on my calf. I am going to buy 7. It's just I really get upset with a brand that I'm very, very passionate about. I love brands, and Final Fantasy is one of my favorite brands. Just shut up and give me a game. Okay?
Yeah.
Talk about 16 because you have a great world in 15 that if you can't stick another fantastic game into 15's assets and everything, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. Come out with the 7 remake like you said, and then let's talk about 8, 6, or 9 or whatever afterwards, or make 17 after that. I don't care, but what are you doing? And good for Tabata, I guess. I'm sure. Basically, that tells me that he was sick of their shit because he's forming his own game company. So who knows how well it's going to work out for him? But I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I put money on 6 being the one that they try to remake after this.
Kevin will be pissed.
Kevin will. Yeah, he's already in the comments saying stay away from it. Yeah, I think that's going to be the other one because the way that you think about it as a business model, right? As a business transaction.
Sure.
It's the same thing they're doing with like remaking movies. They're looking at to say it's not which movie deserves a remake. They're saying which movie or video game can I make the most money off of if I do a remake. 6 would make more money. 6 would make so much money. So I think that's what they would do. Because
even if fans were mad like Kevin would still buy it.
Kevin would still buy it.
Twice.
Yeah. So that's it for most of the gaming news this week. Let us know in the comments what you thought about gaming news, and stay tuned for the main topic if you're watching live, or check out the next video if you're not. We're talking Diablo, and you're not going to want to miss that. Bye.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.